Okay, so let me give you these results and not beat around the bush. It says the results are probable paternity 99.99999%.
Percent what?
Yes, he's your father.
This man is my father? This man is my father? My mama lied to me
Welcome
again.
back.
Hey, welcome back.
Rosh and Abi. It's time to wake up.
Time to wake up.
Abby, in the news right now, it's Kirk Franklin. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but we're going to give our take on it, on what we saw. And we all know about Kirk Franklin, gospel singer, worldly gospel singer, but there's a lesson in his story. There's a big takeaway in his story, in the documentary that he did. And the things that we saw, we were just shocked, and we were like, man, this is painful to see. Mm-hmm. You can see so much trauma. And for me personally, when I saw it, I was like, now I understand a lot of the things that Kirk Franklin does, why he does the things that he do. Mm-hmm. But with that said too, at the end of the day, he's still an adult and he's responsible for his decisions, because we all come from something, right?
All of us have, yes.
We all come from some type of trauma, some type of bad upbringing, whatever, poverty,
right?
All these things. So that's
whatever
all,
it may be for you, but we know everybody come from something,
right? And just generally speaking, we're gonna just dive into it. A couple of things about Kirk Franklin that I didn't know. Now he's 53 years old. And if you don't know about the documentary, he found his father at 53 years old. So you can imagine how that feels for a person to meet their real father, to discover their real father at 53 years old. And in the video, he said that even though he's 53, sometimes he feels like he's 10 years old. He feels like he's a 10-year-old boy, because that's how his mom and his aunt treats him. He's still looking for approval, still looking for validation from them, because that's the only people that he loved.
Yes, and like a lot of times when we're dealing with trauma, we just become adults. Like we in adult bodies, but we still those children on the inside. So you really you become an adult in your physical body, but internally you still that broken child until you heal that thing. And we know the ultimate healing comes from the Most High.
Yes.
But there are also tools and stuff that you can get to help you through that.
Right.
But I just wanted to add that.
So just some things about Kirk Franklin that I didn't know. One, he's 53 years old. He grew up in poverty. He's from Fort Worth, Texas, I think they said. Somewhere in Texas. Yes. Grew up in Texas. He was adopted by a distant relative, a woman named Gertrude. This woman was 64 years old. Basically a grandmother to him, but she wasn't his grandmother. Adopted a 4-year-old boy. And he said he grew up alone. No siblings, no cousins was around, no nothing. He said he never had any birthdays. He doesn't remember kind of doing anything. He never really had much of a childhood. He said he was alone as a child.
And that's because the lady that adopted him, she was an elder,
right?
She was an older person.
Right.
So she really didn't, wasn't involved in all of those things that I guess when you're a younger parent, you're going to birthday parties, you're doing all these different things. And, she wasn't around that, because of her age. So that affected Kirk and made him feel lonely throughout the years,
Right. So what this distant relative did was she put up money so that he could take piano lessons and stuff. He said he found comfort in piano, and the woman had a piano in her house, so that's how he learned how to play the piano, and that was his, an escape as he was a kid. His escape was the piano. So see, I didn't know all these things about him.
And we all have escapes. You know, when you come from trauma, everybody have something that they use to escape from that trauma, from that pain.
Absolutely. So fast forward in the story. Kirk and his mom had been estranged for like 23 years. In the documentary, he said he hadn't talked to his mom in 23 years. And how the whole situation came about with him meeting his new dad was that his blood aunt had passed away. And his dad, the man that's claiming to be his dad now, was at the funeral. And he told the backup singer, he said, I had a relationship with Kirk's mom. So the backup singer got back to Kirk and said, look, I have to tell you something. This man at the funeral said he may be your dad. And at the funeral, he gave the singer a swab, a DNA swab of himself. And he said, look, give this to Kirk. He can do with it what he wants. And Kirk Franklin said in the documentary that since people know that he's adopted, he's had people come out of the woodwork saying that they're his dad. And he never paid any mind to it. He said what was different in this situation was that this person was so close to the family. His dad, this man, he lived like blocks away from where his mom lived, blocks away from where he used to drop his son off to play with a friend when he was younger, and blocks away from Kirk, where he actually recorded his songs in the studio. So this man was close to the family. So what Kirk Franklin did, the rumor started going around, and let's play that video right quick. This rumor started going around, and Kirk Franklin's mom reached out to him, called his number. She found his number somehow and said she wanted to be there for him to reveal the truth about if this man is his father or not. So let's play that clip.
First saved message. If you would like to talk to me about the rumor that is floating around out there, call back. Just remember, as I told you once, I will not lie to you about anything. End of message. Delete. Resave.
So the funny thing about that, when we saw that clip, is that his mom didn't reach out, hadn't talked to him for 23 years. But when these rumors started circling around that this man Rick is his father, she found his number and reached out to him and said she wouldn't lie to him about anything. So, but we're going to continue to see if that is true, if it's true what his mom is saying. Again, remember, they have a strained relationship. So Kirk, what he did next was he took that swab what the man gave, and then he went and get himself a swab for a DNA test, and he got the results. Let's play that clip.
Hey,
Hey, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Okay, so let me give you these results and not beat around the bush. It says the results are probable paternity 99.99999%.
Percent what?
Yes, he's your father. Right there.
What? What?
He's here.
What? What? What?
Yeah, 99.
What?
Yeah.
What? 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 This man is my father? This man is my father? My mama lied to me again?
He said, my mama lied to me again.
Broken promises, huh?
His mama been lying to him his whole life. And in the documentary too, he said when he was adopted, he saw his mom like 2 to 3 times a year. So she was in and out of his life. So that could be tough on a child. I could imagine how that felt.
Okay, now so let us listen to that clip where he's talking about he spent years hating a man that wasn't even his father.
I buried the man I thought was my father. I flew to Houston and made peace with him, but in 2017, I got an anonymous phone call that he was dying of cancer. His name's Dwight. I said to him, you know, I'm told that I'm the biggest selling gospel artist in history. I'm told that I've done this, the first of this, the first of that I've won more this than that, more than that. But because I did not have you to tell me who I was, I have always been the most insecure man in the room.
That's deep.
That is deep.
I have all these accolades, all these awards, but I've always been the most insecure man in this world because he didn't receive validation from his father.
Wow. This is deep.
This is deep, guys.
This is real deep because a lot of people who end up in the industry, whether it be music industry, all types of music, not just gospel, rap industry, just any type of music industry and, you know, worldly music, or that end up in Hollywood, on television. Many of those people are Kirk Franklin. Many of them have dealt with trauma, childhood trauma. And they have used those sources like Hollywood or being on movies, actors, all of these things, singers, rappers. They have used that as an avenue to suppress and to escape from their childhood traumas. And that's just their way of being able to feel loved and accepted, which is something that they desired as a child. So this is, a lot of them are Kurt.
That you say that. I heard Cat Williams say the other day that the industry, they play on these people's vulnerabilities. They want broken people. That way you can't expose what we're doing because we're going to either reveal who you are, reveal what happened to you, reveal what you did. That way you can never come out and expose it. That way you have to keep silent about the things that the industry does.
Right.
They want these type of people.
And that's why they do sometimes they do rituals with them. They do certain types of demonic rituals with them, so that they can have that against them in case they ever decide to walk away from the industry. And I can't say that Kurt did any kind of demonic rituals like that. Maybe something within the Christian, the gospel music. I don't know, because even in the gospel music, we know that it's not. Some of the stuff, it's not of Yah. Some of it they put in the world in it too.
Right.
Not all of it. They have some old gospel music from a long time ago where they really worship the Father. We know they didn't have the true names, but when you don't know what you don't know.
So let's continue. So Kirk got his results, and what he did was he took the DNA results to his father, this guy named Rick, and he knows where this guy stayed at. He actually went to his house and showed him the results. So let's look at that.
That you could have a child with that person or that person or that person. Because I can tell you, had I been aware of any such possibility, I would have pursued the truth about it. I'm sorry. Come here, man. Give me a chance. This is gonna be.
Wow, that was a powerful revelation and just exchange between them two. And if you go back and watch the documentary, you can see how his dad handled the situation. He was real professional, and I wouldn't say, I would say empathetic about the whole situation. How he talked to Kurt, he told him, this is about you, about the results. It's about you. He said he never wanted to make it about him. He apologized. He said, I'll do it at your own time and however you want to do this. He was just real empathetic. And come to find out, he's an actual behavioral therapist. A behavioral therapist, a therapist in Texas. So That's just that was
He
a
handled
powerful
it
scene,
superb.
right?
Like you can tell that he had some kind of training or something because
Right.
the way he handled it on my.
Yeah, you don't see people
You
handling.
don't see
no,
no,
not like that.
He handled it amazing like that. Nah, I'm not gonna even lie. There wasn't a dry eye in the room.
Right.
And even seeing it again made me emotional.
Right.
Because there's a lot of Kirk Franklins. And it's not just people in the industry.
Right.
Even just regular human beings.
In all communities.
All communities are Kirk Franklin.
Yes. A lot of fatherless homes just across the world. So they did that, and what Kirk Franklin wanted to do, he revealed the results to his mom. He hadn't told her yet. So he's going to reveal the results to his mom and to his aunt. And he let's see their reaction.
Probability of paternity?
Yes, ma'am.
100%? How's that possible?
It's not, baby. I can swear on my dead mother's grave. Rick Hubbard is not your father. I don't know what happened, how this paternity test came back 99.95%. But I really would like to get to the bottom of it.
There's so many voices out there.
Wow.
Now that clip, that one was very disheartening for me to see. For me to actually witness that a mother would actually get the results and deny them right in front of her son's face and swear on her mother's dead grave.
Oh my goodness.
And what I seen in that, when I seen her do that, I automatically thought to myself that, to be honest with you, I can see why she was not in Kirk Franklin's life. She was really not fit. And the sad thing about it, some parents are just not fit to raise a child.
Right.
Because sometimes they reproduce, they have children in their traumas. And they're not even prepared to have a child. You know, and that's what happened here. It's sad to say because, yes, we know every child needs a mom. Every child deserves to have their mom. But in this case, I can see why she was not there. Because for a woman to do something like that, you cannot be mentally stable.
Absolutely.
To actually deny evidence. And we know a lot of it is from her shame. So a big part of it is that. The shame that's coming from it. But the fact that she can look at him with a stern face, a serious face, and laugh about it and say no.
Either
This is
swear on her
false.
mom's grave.
That was sad to witness.
And like you
Actually
said,
see.
yes, I can see that his mom was dealing with some trauma. She's dealt with some trauma herself. This is a case of like generational curses. Generational curses. I can assure you that she dealt with some things in her childhood that she's never addressed, never got help with, none of these things. And she's just inflicting that on her son, Kirk Franklin.
And for a mom to give their child up for adoption, just that in itself, it says a lot. It says that, you know, mentally she was not stable enough to have a child. Now, I can't say she don't love her child. Her actions, although it shows us something different, I think it's more of her guilt and her shame. And instead of just facing it head on and dealing with it, I just think she was not prepared for it because she knew she was being recorded as well. But it was really sad to watch.
So Kirk took it another step further. We saw that his mama denied the test. She's like, no. She's like, I want another test. This is off. So Kirk said, all right, I'm going to get y'all both together. And he did another test. But this time he revealed the results with his father there and his mother there. And let's see what happened.
This I cannot accept because this is not true. And I apologize from the bottom of my heart on this.
Are you
He presented his mama with 2 DNA tests, and both of them came back 99% that Rick is his father, and she denied it twice. Unbelievable. So again, like what you were saying, his mom is dealing with a lot of trauma. She does not want to accept that you faced with the facts or in your face. You still, and Kirk was saying, he's like, if you can't accept the truth and tell me, little boy Kirk, that this is my father, he's like, I can't. Pretty much saying, I can't do this anymore.
Right. And for Kirk, one thing I could say about him is the fact that he set a boundary with his mother, which is very important because really she never raised him. She never really been in his life. So I could tell that he has been through some type of counseling just by the way he set that boundary with her and told her, if you can't give me this, it will be no more of this. And he actually broke down and said, I need my mom. And it still was not enough for her. And that just goes to show that she still was dealing with a lot with her internal stuff. And she was just not there yet where Kirk is, meaning I'm talking about the healing part.
Right.
But I do respect the fact that he was able to set that healthy boundary, because sometimes we do have to do that with people, even though we love them, to where they don't have to show them it's not okay for you to keep coming in and out of my life and hurting me that way.
Right.
And that's the way that you have to do it sometimes, because even in the scriptures, it tells us to not provoke our children to anger.
Yes.
And so before he gets to that point, he's like, you can't give me this, then gotta go. This is what it's going to be.
You speaking of that scripture, that's Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. It says, and you, fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the training and admonition of Yahuwah. We know it's speaking to the fathers. That's what parents, period. Don't provoke our kids to anger. And that's what his mom is doing, provoking him to anger. And what stood out to me with that was when his mom started crying. It's like she was manipulating the situation. Like to say, it's not Kirk is the victim,
right?
But she's the victim.
She turned herself into
the victim. So it's just, I couldn't believe it when I saw all of that. But you know what that reminded me of also, and this is something that we always talk about. Kirk's mom generation, just that generation in general, that's a hard generation, guys. They've been through a lot. That's generation. Remember, if they sought some type of counseling, they were looked at as they were crazy.
They didn't
you were weak.
They didn't
Yes, they never looked at counseling as something that's to be sought out.
Right.
Something that you needed.
I know in our community, I don't know if it's the same for the.
It's other communities too, because I've heard them say it. Yep, they've never looked this. They didn't want to deal with counseling. All you did was sweep stuff under the rug, keep it behind closed doors, never bring it out, keep it a secret, and just don't deal with it. And we can obviously see that's what she was dealing with. She didn't want to deal with it.
And so what I see too is Kirk has surpassed her in healing. He surpassed her because he's doing the work.
Yes.
I'm not saying he's there yet, but he's doing the work. And it's obvious that she's not. She never did any work. Because as you said, in that generation, they just didn't do counseling.
No, not at all. And Kirk, eventually he says, like what you said, he came to the reality that, look, my mama, she can't give me this. So if she can't give me that, guess what? I have to make some difficult choices in my life. I can't give her what she needs because she can't give me what I need. And he just came to that reality. So that's what the purpose of this video was. It was a lesson in that. Sometimes you just have to avoid toxic parents, toxic people,
unfortunately,
for you to have your peace.
Unfortunately. I mean, we definitely promote family and we love to see restorations and stuff.
Right.
When it comes to family, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you just have some toxic people that's not willing to change. They're not willing to heal.
Nope.
And they want to drag you into they mess. And sometimes you just have to make a sound judgment and be like, just like Kirk did, depending on the situation, depending on the person. Because sometimes there is toxic parents to that point to where it's best that you keep your distance.
Love them from a
distance. Unless they go and heal and come humble and be repentant of something. Because I want to say this too. when it comes to parenting, parents, it's so important to own your stuff when you have done your children some type of wrong or just made some mistakes, because we are human.
Right.
You know, and sometimes we just repeating our traumas unknowingly. And so we make mistakes when it comes to us raising our own children. But if you ever get to that point where you realize you made some mistakes, own it. And I would just say too, some advice is just go to your children and apologize before they even come to you.
Exactly.
That way, guess what? You ever come to me, we talked about it. I told you, share with them your history.
Right.
Share with them why you have done certain things, and apologize up front before they even come to you. But if it doesn't get to that point and they just come to you first, I'm sorry. A simple I'm sorry.
Yes. And that's all what Kirk was looking for.
That's all he wanted was I'm sorry, and for her to tell the truth and to say, you know what, I made a mistake. Yes, that's your father. But she was so focused on herself and the shame of it all, instead of just saying, you know what, I've been selfish my whole life. It's time for me to let that shame go and to be selfless just for this one time with my son. He deserves it for all that I've put him through.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, that didn't happen.
And what Kirk is doing, he's breaking that generational curse, because in the documentary too, he went and reconciled with his son to break the curse. Right. But the mama, like what you were saying, she wants to keep that cycle going. She doesn't want to break that curse. And
she don't know how to break it.
And she don't know how to break it because she's never gotten the help.
Right. Look like.
Right.
From what we've seen, I don't know what she's going to do afterwards. Hopefully she'll see herself and be more ashamed and say, I need to do something. Let me fix this. And
the crazy part was that the aunt, she was right there. She was like, she's like, the DNA is in your face, right?
She had some soundness with her, because she was like, he just wants the truth.
He just wants the truth. We see the DNA. Well, you say that's his father. She couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Very sad situation, but this is why we have to be mindful too. Like we said before, we have compassion on people. It's important to have compassion on people, but also to remember that a lot of the people in the industries and stuff like that, and movies, that the people that the world look up to, a lot of them are broken children. Yes. They're adults, but they're broken children. Yes. And many of them are being used by the industry and abused by the industry to promote a certain agenda. Right. But they're really playing on their insecurities. Right. So even though we have compassion, we still have to be mindful of what they're promoting. Right. And and always remember who they're being controlled by.
Absolutely. So that was our video. Definitely want to hear your comments about it. Let us know what you think about the Kirk Franklin story. Even though, like what we said, he's an adult, he's still responsible for his actions now. That doesn't negate the things that he's promoting now, his childhood. But we definitely would love to hear from you. Is his mom wrong? Is she right in feeling how she feels? How his dad handled the situation? We definitely would love to hear from you guys. So that was our video. Thanks for watching. Share the video, like, subscribe, and we will talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Later, guys.